When a baby girl is born, her body already holds hundreds of thousands of eggs. They sit dormant, fast asleep in the ovaries. They stay that way for over a decade. Then, a biological trigger wakes them up. Blood flows, hormones surge, and a lifelong process begins. For millions of women, this biological rhythm is often experienced as a painful, unpredictable monthly ordeal. It involves debilitating cramps, lower back pain, extreme fatigue, sudden food cravings, and severe mood swings. Before we dive into the mechanics of why this happens, tell us in the comments, what is your most frustrating cycle symptom? This pain and bleeding is actually the result of a multi-phase system synchronized by the brain down to the hour. Once you know the timeline, you can anticipate exactly what your body is doing. This diagram identifies the command center of the cycle, the hypothalamus and pituitary gland. Between the ages of 10 and 15, these structures wake up. They start firing hormonal demands to the reproductive organs, starting a loop that will repeat for decades. On day 1, while the body is physically shutting the old lining of the uterus, the brain is already actively preparing for the next month's cycle. The pituitary gland releases a chemical called follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH. Its job is to select one specific fluid-filled sac, a follicle, and mature the single egg inside it. By day 12, the growing follicle is producing peaking levels of estrogen. This estrogen peak causes the uterine lining to thicken and fill with rich blood vessels. Phase 1 is a biological construction project, designing a nutrient-rich environment to sustain a potential pregnancy. Now, a quick pop quiz. Once an egg is released, how long does it have to be fertilized before it dies? The answer is exactly 24 hours. Biology leaves an incredibly narrow window for this to succeed. Here is how that window opens. Around day 14, a massive surge of luteinizing hormone, or LH, forces the mature follicle to burst, releasing the egg. This LH surge also triggers a brief spike in testosterone, which naturally increases a woman's libido during her most fertile window. The egg is swept into the fallopian tube. This is the critical meeting point. If sperm meets the egg, it must happen right here. This chart illustrates two possible paths. After ovulation, the empty follicle becomes the corpus luteum, pumping out progesterone to keep the uterine lining stable, the fertilized path. If no fertilization occurs, it breaks down. Progesterone crashes, signaling the uterus to shed its lining. This physical shedding is the period itself. It acts as a reset mechanism that completes the 24 to 38-day biological loop. When these chemical shifts are unknown, the sudden hormonal drops can make the body feel hostile and unpredictable. Mapping these shifts reveals the chemical cause behind the fatigue and irritability. You can see that these symptoms are direct results of dropping progesterone, rather than personal failings. Because you now know that estrogen peaks around day 12, you can schedule high-energy tasks for that window, or adjust your diet to include more iron-rich foods to offset the coming progesterone crash. If this look at the biological timeline helped you understand your body better, hit the subscribe button. Share this knowledge with partners, daughters, and friends to help them demystify their own biology. Understanding your internal clock is the first step to working with your body. To learn the science-backed secrets for reducing period cramps without medication, click the video on your screen right now.